The doorbell rang, cutting through the silence of my evening like a knife, jagged and unforgiving. I wasn't expecting anyone. Certainly not her, the woman who had once been my world, my ex-wife. After all these years, I never thought I'd see her again. Hell, I thought I was done with her, buried the past deep enough that it would never resurface. But there she was, standing at my doorstep, looking like a stranger, yet still somehow unmistakably her. She was older now, worn down by life's harsh reality, but that same glint of something unspoken still lingered in her eyes. A mix of regret, guilt, and fear, all wrapped in one. How dare she show up like this? After everything she'd done, after the lies, the betrayal, the endless nights I spent wondering what had gone wrong, how could she just walk back into my life like this? We need to talk. Her voice was trembling, barely above a whisper, but it cut through me like a sword. In that instant, all the anger, all the confusion, every goddamn emotion I had buried for the last decade came rushing back. How could she have the audacity to come here now? I wanted to slam the door in her face, scream, tell her to get the hell out. But something in her presence, the vulnerability in her eyes, stopped me. A part of me wanted to hear what she had to say. I hated myself for it, but I stepped aside and let her in. I didn't know why. Maybe I was still tied to the past. Maybe I was still hoping for some kind of closure. We stood there, both of us tiptoeing around the conversation, as if we were both afraid of the damage that could be done with just a few words. She took a deep breath, gathering the strength to speak, and then it all came tumbling out. Words I wasn't ready to hear, confessions I never thought would come. She wasn't just sorry for the affair. No, it wasn't that simple. She told me she had been running from herself for years, hiding from the woman she had become. She wasn't just apologizing for the betrayal, for the lies. She was apologizing for not being honest with herself, for being so damn afraid of facing her own failures, her own insecurities. She had torn apart everything she loved in a desperate attempt to escape the guilt and shame that had consumed her. I couldn't believe it. This wasn't the woman I had known. This wasn't the confident, driven person I married. The woman sitting before me was fragile, broken by the weight of her choices. She had destroyed our life together and it had torn her apart. But then came the gut punch, the one that shook me to my core. The man she had cheated on me with? The one who had broken us apart? He wasn't even in the picture anymore. She had walked away from him, just like she had walked away from me. She was standing there, not asking for forgiveness, not begging me to take her back. She was here to face the truth about herself. She wanted redemption, not from me, but from the shattered version of herself she had become. She had spent so many years running from the truth, and now she wanted to finally confront it. I didn't know what to say. My head was spinning, my chest tight. Anger? Sadness? Regret? I didn't know anymore. For the first time in years, I wasn't angry at her. I wasn't bitter. I was sad. Not for what she had done to me, but for what she had done to herself. She had ruined everything, not just for me, but for her own life. She was a shell of the person she used to be, and all because she couldn't face the truth. And then, as she sat there, her eyes red and swollen from crying, I realized something that struck me harder than anything she had said. She wasn't just asking for forgiveness. She was asking for redemption. She had destroyed everything she had ever loved, all because she was terrified of looking herself in the mirror. She had abandoned herself first. She cried not the kind of fake tears that tried to pull on my heartstrings, but real tears. The kind you shed when you know you've lost everything. And in that moment, I didn't just see her as my ex-wife. I saw a woman who had been broken by her own choices, who had been running for so long but now had nowhere left to hide. She confessed it all, the pain, the regret, the guilt. And then it hit me like a freight train. I wasn't just angry at her anymore. I wasn't angry about the affair, about the lies, or the betrayal. No, I was angry at myself. I had let this festering wound control my life for so long. I had let the bitterness and hatred seep into my soul, and for what? She had apologized. She had faced the truth. But I had been living in the past, holding on to something that no longer mattered. In that moment, I realized the hardest truth of all. The person who had hurt me the most wasn't her, it was me. We talked for hours. There were no grand apologies, no dramatic reunion. The love we once shared had died long ago. But in that room, something shifted. We were both finally facing the truth. And in that moment, I felt a kind of peace that I hadn't known in years. It wasn't about forgiveness. It was about letting go. Letting go of the past, of the anger that had consumed me for so long. When she left, I didn't feel victorious. I didn't feel like I had won anything. I felt free. Free from the years of anger and bitterness that had held me hostage. Free from the pain that had clouded my heart for so long. I wasn't going to hold on to this anymore. I had forgiven myself for holding on to the hurt. That was the end. No perfect resolution. No grand finale. Just two people who had once loved each other, now separated by time, distance, and a painful past, but at last finding peace in letting go. But here's the kicker, the real twist. I'll never forget that night. I won't forget the way she looked at me, the way she begged for redemption. But I also won't forget what I learned from it all. Sometimes the hardest part isn't forgiving the person who hurt you. It's finally forgiving yourself. So ask yourself, have you ever been trapped by your own anger, by the past you refuse to let go of? Maybe it's time to face it. Because sometimes the one thing standing in the way of your peace is you. And that's the story. Would you have been able to let go? To forgive yourself when the one who hurt you could never ask for forgiveness? Let me know in the comments. And if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe. There's always a new chapter to be written. I'm